Welcome to the ICLS Virtual Summit. So on behalf of ICF Malaysia and the organizing committee, I am honored to welcome everyone to the International Coaching and Leadership Summit 2021.
Dear valued members of ICF, our prestige audience, Maria Nemeth, our distinctive opening keynote speaker, and Dato' Arif Farhan Dos, COO of Human Resource Development Corporation. Welcome to the ICLS 2021 International Coaching and Leadership Summit.
A very good afternoon to ICF Malaysia President Ms. Grace Lee, her Executive Committee of ICF Malaysia, to all the speakers, to all the moderators, to all the attendees, respected attendees of ICF International Coaching and Leadership Summit of 2021. A very good afternoon. Allow me first to congratulate the organizing committee for the excellent work that they have put in to organize the summit. Some people seem to think that an online virtual event is easier than organizing a physical face-to-face event. I beg to differ. Anyone who has attempted to hold a virtual event will tell you the nervousness that comes with ensuring your speakers will log in at the right time without any technical hitches.
Hi, everybody. Oh, you're so great.
And we are so blessed to have Maria, actually the speaker, be with us.
Start gathering evidence for these conclusions, the ones I'm going to show you. It's very hard to create trust. Get the feeling of what that's like, and then go to the next level. Maybe someone who initially it might be just a little bit difficult, but you notice that as you try and as you are willing, then you begin to do it. You begin to do it. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. I mean, just, 99.99% of the people.
So thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here, and also to the team that's worked so hard for many months to have all of us be together. So developing a growth mindset for me was about and is about their circumstances, their conditions, always. They're not going to go away. But how do we navigate? How do we participate? What worldviews do we develop? Things are fixed, but we are not fixed, and the world is not fixed. And as you know, KH and other people, one of the biggest things we deal with, especially in the coaching world, is who we say people are. Are people fixed?
Communicate and manage well-being. So our research found that effective communication skills are the most valued managerial trait for this crisis. 95% of those surveyed say that communicating clearly is the most important trait right now. 68% consider that to be very important. In a crisis, this isn't a surprise. When there's lots of uncertain variables, clear communication allows a team to focus through the noise and understand precisely what you need to be successful.
Some of the areas where you're looking at clarity and expectation, but again, to take it a step further in a sense, and actually, look again, it's the big word of how. The highlight of flexibility was interesting as well, because we related to that in our own workspaces, either through our individual situation or with work colleagues, etc.
So coaching helps people to see the stories, to separate the past from what's possible now. So the reflections we use, the disruptive reflections and curious questions, make people pause and look inside at their stories, opening the door to seeing themselves in the world.
Having coached over a longer period of time and some newbies, infants as they call themselves, and it was really interesting to see. Marcia obviously speaks from a place of incredible experience. And so when she gave the directions, don't ask people how to feel, how they're feeling because they don't know, or don't ask about, in the beginning of the coaching session, what do you want to focus on?
Just knowing a new paradigm of coaching, something that is a bit different from the traditional coaching ways that we all know. We are all coaches here. I believe everyone here is a coach. Most of you all, except professor. I think professor's a professor here. So probably you're like the only one who is from the corporate world. But coaches, this is something that probably that we need to look into.
The ecosystem, what else is in the place of work? What other agendas are there? And just bringing all of that into the coaching. Because sometimes we as coaches can get a little bit hooked on what our clients see, but their clients aren't necessarily seeing anything. So I love the challenge to us to really look wide, see what else is in the system and bring it in and kind of throw it at the coach, see what sticks.
So that when you go into the coaching, you are actually using systemic intelligence through your body to tap, to get the hints and the clues about what the client is not.
Often, I know she chose a lot of areas, also shoulder, we often do this. I have a feeling she was focusing on areas that we often tense up. And so it just kind of reminds us to bring our shoulders down.
Coaching supervision looks at the whole element of who and how you are as a coach, your ways of being, how you are in relationship with your clients. It's much more than the competencies. Of course, it includes the competencies. Are my inquiries working for you? How are we in our relationship? And role model with the client what you're asking the client to do, which is to share with you when they're unsure, to share with you when they screw up and do the old behavior instead of the new behavior, or when it feels awkward in the new behavior.
What did I learn from here? Patience, partnership, you need to invest in it. So as a leader, are you willing to be patient with your people? Are you willing to create partnership with your people? So what was the difference? It's also the mindset. How do I now communicate? Do I use that space and not being able to see physically? And actually it boils down to the kind of leadership they are. Do I trust my team enough that I'm able to lead without being physically present there?
How to be more productive with this person, how to communicate better with this person, how to have a better relationship with this person, how to lead this person better. So all of these things are inside of the system. So what it does, remember, we talked about the possibility of connecting with people in the group, in the team, in the environment. So now you're able to get everybody involved. And even if they weren't part of your coaching in the beginning, when they get involved, it's like, oh, well, I'm doing this coaching with my coach. And so we've got to get the whole team to take this test.
Everybody in the organization can receive coaching, because sometimes our coaching can happen even in an interpretation session, right? When we are interpreting a report for another person. I think that in itself is also coaching.
To generate the creative solutions after. It can give us the raw materials. And it's very good at observing the whole picture. Our brains are designed to select out most of what we see or most of what we feel.
Connecting with another human being, I think that is the piece that I always want to bring to the table when I'm coaching, and not purely the process. So it's a great reminder for me that how important is this piece in my work now and in the future as well.
So find the gaps in your map. And what that means for me is constantly be thinking about your mental map of the world, of yourself, of other people. And if you don't understand a situation well, or you don't understand a person well, figure out where the gaps are before you start trying to create solutions, before you start telling people what they should do. Really spend time understanding people and situations more deeply, and look for what you Look for what you don't understand.
You, hearing you and experiencing you is just so refreshing. There were so many nuggets in there. I loved the insight. And don't give culture and people to HR. And it was a bit of an aha moment. Like nowadays we've got so many different functions that are just coming up.
I think there are objective and subjective factors to this. I mean, I think objectively, empathetic leadership is a style of leadership that means that you are more considerate in terms of the people you are managing. You are more aware and more connected to their sort of psychological well-being, and the goal being is more around sort of getting on the same page, build a connection, getting aligned. You've got to be practical. You've got to think about the workforce, what they're used to and what they respond to, and you've got to think about productivity. So I'm not just saying this as sort of some magic wand type approach, but I'm just saying it's something to build towards.
What do you learn from your experience? And what has changed in you? And how does the change benefit you in your growth? How would you like to expand further?
You may want to learn deeper so that you can be a better coach for them, right? So not just equip yourself because you want to clock the hours just to get ACC or MCC, but try to do too much of those. But in the journey, you want to learn, to go deeper so that you can help the clients better. So that is the journey I'm looking at.
Responsibility then is it to provide employment in your town, in your city, in your country, because you can no longer restrict people from not issuing work permits. Don't issue a work permit doesn't stop somebody from working in your organization, right? And you try a lot of things, right? AI, etc. So when they launch their cloud offering is launched on the basis of bells and whistles. It can do all these, you may not need it, but it can do all these great things, and this AI which you'll never use, etc., right?
So if we look at these parts, which one of you love it? I'm a coach and I absolutely love it. Show me, raise your hand if you love it. Can we take care of ourselves by taking care of others? And something else that I witness rather regularly is a number of coaches doing a lot of free coaching at the beginning, taking care of everybody, but it does not take care of them.
Before you can actually sort of offer something to your client. And I think sometimes as coaches, it's very easy to see where people are, to get them to shift perspective, but to get that within you to shift your own perspective is always the bigger challenge. So there's a lot of internal work you need to do before you can actually use that trauma to help others.
Increasing the revenue wise, our coach worked with us in a way that our coach wanted us to focus solely on our strength when we work into this increment of the revenue.
Felt right on a scale of 1 to 10, and then they rated, whether it was 6 or some people felt 3, and then they analyzed their lives, right? And there is correlation on how you actually create your own luck.
Also very critical that both for this, your capability, which is driven by your IQ, your will, which is driven by EQ. So when you look at the leaders at COP21, 26 now, you will also understand that most of them are leaders of countries, the hotel industry, because hotel industry is very much heart driven. It's not, but at the same time you need to drive profits, right? And they said when they do training for the hotel industry, they switch it the other way around.
Don't use too much energy for the things we do. And secondly, if we know what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after, based on the experience we have today or yesterday, our survival becomes better. It can adjust. Having said that, if you need to adjust based on your roles, of course, it takes a lot of energy. And when people feel more comfortable in their role again, then 9 out of 10 fall back to a natural style.
For the journey of supply chain, and that become an evidence which started the formation of supply chain industry and brought it outside of operation management. As a coach, then we actually explored what is the best in them and where they can really contribute into the ecosystem.
Coaching supervision takes a whole new dimensionality, a lot more, right? Not just looking at the individual part of competency, we're looking at the entirety of things. So that's the lens we're looking at. So in terms of the different layers of chunks, we're chunking up one layer higher in the coaching supervision. We're looking at it from a totality sense.
And all that stuff. And then I understood it in my own way, based on my own experiences and my own lenses and what I can derive for it.
Genuinely interested in finding out about other people and what makes other people tick, what makes them behave the way that they do, from both a mental well-being perspective, but also a physical well-being perspective as well, so that you can help other people.
Interpersonal trust, the word trust is coming up again, where people feel comfortable being themselves. So this is linked again to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they are there in autopilot mode. They don't stop to consider. And this COVID time has actually given many people opportunities to consider that. My point where I considered my career and what I wanted to do was actually the financial crisis in 2007. That's when I decided, no, I don't want to, I want to do what I'm doing now.
Now result in low motivation because they're not sure, and sometimes they expect that, oh, they know their KPI, what, because we already set this at the start of the year and all those. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know as well, the whole environment has changed. So what was said at the start of the year may no longer be relevant or needs to be adapted, needs to be changed. This is before or after. I think it's applicable as well to start building those bridges and start building those relationships. By the way, I just want to make sure it's very clear for all of you as well. Whatever I'm presenting to you is from a disposition of heart-centered leadership, right? That we focus on relationships, because there's a lot of models of leadership that are out there. There's transactional and stuff like that.
I believe, first and foremost, that coaching will replace training. And why? I believe it will be much more powerful than training, because I believe that most of what we do in training or learning is content regurgitation. So a lot of training is about throwing content to an audience and enabling that to build knowledge and skill, basic skill, not necessarily expertise, right? And values and beliefs actually permeate. You see, the foundation of it is from parents, right? Or from your caregiver or your early. So your early childhood, right, plays a huge role in a number of ways. One is how secure you feel. So you talk about psychological safety, right? The importance of it in organization. Actually, it starts with the parents, right? Then it goes to your coaches and teachers, and ultimately your professors or your early bosses in work, right?
The first R is, of course, resilience, and I don't want to go too much into that since Mukhtar has spoken about it, because I think during the last 1.5 years, you either see leadership or you just don't see leadership. And I tell you what, because for most of the companies, if you're in MNC, working from home has been a norm. I mean, I was working from home during the days when I was in Microsoft. That was 15 years ago, right? But I think for many of the local companies, where, especially in this side of the world, like in Asia, we very much a relationship, face-to-face, warm culture, where suddenly you have to work from home,
because you need people to really have a trusting environment to do their best. For example, in Hong Kong, the market in banking is really hot. So if you're not able to take care of them, then they're just not going to be there. and it's really difficult to hire because the talent pool is shrinking because of various factors which are there. So for me, I think managers are becoming much more, they have realized the importance of being a coach and becoming a true leader. So majority of them.
Whatever that you are feeling or sensing, the whole crew, your staff, you get to have that sense of it, So it amplifies whatever that you're doing. This is what I'm getting, like I'm experiencing. And if you feel like fearful, your whole crew will feel fearful too. And if you feel positive towards the whole environments or things that is happening, your crew will feel positive towards it too.
Failure basically leads success. And these are what kids are always taught since they were young. But what I notice is when we get into a corporate organization, because a lot of organizations, we are just too big to fail. And therefore, we check every single detail and we do not allow people to fail.
It's a discomfort, right? Whatever that is. We feel uncomfortable because we're no longer doing something that we know, that we're used to. But there is an opportunity in there to do things differently. So I think it's an attitude and the way we look at things need to, I hate to use the word again, but change.
We need to be comfortable that adversity actually builds us up, and we need to accept them and learn from it. I think this is a key attitude as well, and this attitude is as tough as it is. It's something that a lot of our staff, our followers, or leaders need to be a lot more empathetic about.
Cordial relationship that we have with our clients, because we're going to make sure that they are not hurt, they are not in any way feel that they have been attacked, and you are just nice to them and we feel very safe, and there's a lot of restraint in the things that we do.
How their potential are being brought out, so you can have two companies having the same system. One will fail terribly and the other will actually succeed.
Not really. I mean, we've been talking for a while over the years. Okay, it's moving from command and control to a sort of more coaching style of leadership. But if we talk about empathy, I think more than ever, they have to realize that you cannot anymore lead in an environment of control.
To upskill themselves, and if they can get the skills to get the job done, their self-esteem is going up, and those universities are willing to give them that credential.
It's the part, right? We've got to ask ourselves what's truly working, not just for the sake of what needs to be done forever, because it's culture, must respect, but if there's a bit of a flexibility, what can be added so that the generations after us will be able to also live up to it in their own way and their own standards. So,
I can't believe that I'm doing the closing remarks already. The 2 weeks have just flown, and it's been 2 weeks of really great learnings and really powerful insights. And then, as new distinctions are being created in our worldview, I just feel immense gratitude for this whole experience. These people here, they form the bedrock for this event, and without them, we won't be here today, closing this summit with a successful outcome. So I want you all to please just unmute yourselves and just put your hands together for the wonderful job that they've done.
Everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you so much. Fantastic job.
Well done.
And for those of you who think that, ICLS is coming to an end, but in ICLS Malaysia, we have many more things for you guys. Always go to our website at iclsmalaysia.org and look at it. If we have events, we have things for you. We want to grow the coaching industry in Malaysia, and we need people like you to come to our events, give us ideas and how we can move forward.
minutes.